Alright, so here's where my level starts. The player will start in a desert at their campsite. So here's where path number 1 comes in. If the player decides to turn around, they can find this little key next to this lantern. If they pick up that key, they can then access door number 1 to then access this area. But we'll come back to that when we get there. But that would be path number 1. And it also includes objective number 1 because it's not, it's not the main objective. And it's not required to progress in the level. So let's say they don't go that way. Here's where path number 2 comes in. Path number 2 will lead out to the abandoned village. And the player will be met with 2 buttons and what will eventually be a door. The player would then have to come over here, push this cube over to those buttons, or push that cube over to this button. It doesn't matter which cube goes on which button, but eventually both buttons will need to be activated in order to open the door for the player to go through. So that's path number 1. Objective number 2 would be to pick up this key in this house, should the player go and explore. And the reason being for that is something we will come back to. So going along path number 2, we come out to the oasis. Now this is where objective number 3 comes in, because you can find the traveler. He is not required. Player doesn't need to interact or anything, but he's there. And that would be objective number 3. So you come out to the oasis, still along path number 2. Here is where path number 3 comes in. Path number 3 will branch from path 2. So that key that we collected in the abandoned house can then be used to bypass this area to get into the cave. But let's say the player doesn't go that way and they decide to go on path number 2 and stay on path number 2. We're met with another one of these buttons. Same idea, push the cube over to the button to activate the door. Keep in mind, if the player didn't activate this door, it will not open, therefore the player can't go through, and same with the other doors. So let's say they activate it and they get in here. Here's where the main objective is now completed. The main objective and the whole point is for the player to find what will be treasure right here. And once that's collected, then, the game is over and, you win, basically. So those are all of the paths, including the optional objectives along with the main objective. And of course, as I stated, the main objective will be to get to this treasure, which the player will then collect, and you will have completed the level.